favorite daydream on your famous night. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are BIMTV Velocities in Music. Today we're going to do Twin Shadow's 2010 release called Forget. Twin Shadow. Actually, the only reason I know of Twin Shadow is because we did Glasser a few weeks ago, and Glasser was on tour with Twin Shadow. She was opening for Twin Shadow, and that's literally the only thing. And then I found that it's getting good reviews, and so we're gonna review it. Tom, what do you think about Twin Shadow's Forget?
I like it. I think it's it. Is this his debut album?
Yes.
It's a very strong debut album. Mostly I love the sound. I love the style. It's really a throwback to the 80s, but the good things about the 80s.
Right.
I mean, stuff like Depeche Mode, Peter Gabriel's solo stuff. Even like maybe a little Tears for Fears, New Order. And when I say Depeche Mode, I don't even mean like 1990 Violator Depeche Mode. I mean like before that.
Right.
I mean like really early Depeche Mode. But this was actually produced by one of the guys from Grizzly Bear, which is interesting. And if you listen closely, there's really a lot of cool little things going on because while it sounds pretty electronic, there are some cool guitar lines, but they're not like thrown in your face. They kind of sit under layers of, you know, these other things that are sweeping in and out.
A lot of bass too.
Yes. Oh, great bass lines on this album. But his voice is very similar to Guy Garvey of Elbow or Peter Gabriel. But really, I feel like there's not a lot in particular, at least that I have to say about this album. I just think it's a great sound that he pairs with great songwriting. And simply put, I mean, there you go. Right there you have the formula for a good album. And these songs, they have a consistent sound, but diverse songwriting.
Right.
And lots of good highs and lows, and it's just good.
I'm glad you pointed out that it's a good formula for a good album. And that's exactly what this is it's the output of just a classic, if you put in all good materials, you're going to get something good out of it type of formula. This album, first thing I want to say, I love how it's structured. It's 11 tracks long, and it's not too long, not too short. It's the perfect length. Everything is kind of well thought out and I don't want to say cut up in the right way, but it's just put together very well and in a complementary fashion. Good opener, good closer, and it's back heavy. And the songs are just very fluid. They flow together and it's just easy to listen to straight through. And that's something that means a lot to me because I hate it when I have to skip a track or when I'm motivated to skip a track by the album. Now I mentioned back heavy. Tracks 7 through 11 are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's not to discount the first half of the album because it's quite good too. It's just not up to the same amazing level as the back half. Now, what makes these songs so good, I think, is Twin Shadow's just incredible ability to write songs, and not just write songs, but like I was telling Tom before we flipped the camera on, like these choruses. When you get to a chorus, first of all, it's not always that square verse chorus structure, but when a chorus does hit you eventually, you don't even notice its arrival until you're just swept away by it because
it sneaks up on you.
Right?
It really does.
And Twin Shadow just uses these incredible hooks that I mean, everything is so meticulous. The way he places his vocal parts are so perfect, and then he'll do something like he'll do a really quick guitar crunch, and it just plays off of one another, and it's just stuff like that just is what makes songs blow up in the mind of the listener, and it's fantastic throughout this album. Tom mentioned the production. I think the production's fantastic throughout. And it's the guy from Grizzly Bear, right?
Yeah, one of the guys.
Fantastic. And I love the sound. I don't have a lot more to say than that. I think it's just really high quality. I don't think that it's really mind blowing by any sense.
No, it's still. I mean,
and maybe that's just because it's not so heavy in concept.
And it's not overly ambitious.
Right.
I feel like he wasn't shooting real high, but he got exactly what he was shooting for.
Exactly.
He pulled it off well. I hope that this guy goes for something just a little more. I don't even know what word I'm looking for, but
right.
Just, something a little more ambitious,
right.
I guess.
And just as far as just there's really something to be said about how good of a debut album this
Yeah.
is. Because your debut album literally means everything. It can be sink or swim for a band. If you have a shitty debut album, I mean, it can be really tough to get a fan base to get going. But at the same time, like if you have an album that's way too good and overhyped as your first album, Interpol, it's really hard to ever come back to that. Well, this kind of hits it on the head as just really good, but still leaves a lot of room for improvement. And I really like it. I'm not going to keep blabbing on about it. I think this is a solid 85 for me. I mean, a strong 80s album.
I'm going to go 82.
Great. I mean, this is something that I would definitely recommend. Nice electronic, yet still retains a lot of real instruments.
Yes.
And that's something that I always appreciate because
Me too.
While that sound is really popular right now, it's good to see it done well.
It's good to see it done as enhancing the music rather than relying on it.
Perfect. Perfect. So tell us what you guys think. Do you like Twin Shadow? Do you not like Twin Shadow? Let us know. www.velocitiesinmusic.com or www.youtube.com/velocitiesinmusic. Leave us a comment. We love talking about music and getting a music dialogue going. That's what we are all about. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
We are VIMTV. Thanks for watching. We're going to move music critique forward.